Hi everyone, welcome. This is week 13. This week we will be focusing on functional vision assessments for students with multiple disabilities. So what to do? The readings this week are the CVI text, the chapter 5 and 6. You might have read this already, so just if in case you haven't read, make sure you read chapter 5. Really important. The CVI range scale that is a part of the functional vision assessment for students with additional disabilities. So in my caseload, pretty much all the students I have with additional disabilities have CVI. So hence the focus will be a little more heavily on CVI when we talk about students with additional disabilities. And then we do have some other stuff that we've put in Canvas. So the links there's a specific link for resources for functional vision assessment. It will take you to Perkins School for the Blind website. So this week, as part of this week's discussion prompt, we would like you to investigate 3 of those resources in that that link, and then write about one of the resources for your peers in the discussion prompt. And then we've also attached an article on cerebral and cortical visual impairment. This article is pretty decent. It's in 2016. And a few weeks ago, we were discussing about whether students with CVI should be part of a TVI caseload. So this particular article kind of has data on that, discusses on that exact prompt that we were talking about a few weeks ago. So it's an interesting article. And then there is a link to Diane Sheeline's Strategy to See classroom environment observation. So when you have to observe a student with CVI in a classroom or learning environment, what are the things that you would be observing? So those are the kind of the list. So wonderful resource. For sure, it's one of your go-to places to do when you're doing a functional vision assessment on a student with CVI. And then we also attached a PDF on tips for writing the FEA report, and that is the major assignment 3, where you have to write an FEA report. So this kind of gives you 5 tips on writing the FEA. And then we've also attached an FEA report example. So this example is for an older person who has field restrictions. So the report, when you read the report, you will kind of get an idea that they'll put some pictures, simulation pictures of how a field restriction will look like. So it's a wonderful written example for an FEA report. And then as we are approaching our final assignment, the 2 options for the final assignment you have, we've explained. I can explain at the end of this presentation about that. I can talk a little more about that. So the videos this week, there are 2 main videos. One is the CVI FVA video from Dr. Christine Roman, housed in Perkins School for the Blind. This is a great, this is a 30-minute video. If you haven't watched already, I would highly recommend you to watch because you would be doing I can guarantee you that you'll be doing an FEA on a student with CVI, because most of if you're going to be a TVI in a public school setting. So, so definitely watch that video. And then there is a webinar on FEA on students with additional disabilities. Folks from Arizona State School for the Blind are in this webinar. It's about an hour long, but I would highly recommend for you to watch this webinar because it takes a collaborative approach to conducting an FEA on students with additional disabilities. And then the activities today, this week, is you need to submit major assignment 3, which is basically the FEA report for Brody. So I just wanted to couple of notes on this assignment. There is a strict 2 pages length for this FEA report. So because more than 2 pages, it's very unlikely parents are going to read it. So we want to make sure you kind of summarize and get things in within 2 pages when you're explaining. And then so strict 2 pages in length for the major assignment 3. And you've seen several examples of FEA reports, so it should be only information you observed on the videos, that from the notes that you submitted as part of major assignment 2. So just the information you observed, plus the medical and the family history, and if you're addressing parent concerns, etc. So make sure that you do not add on or try to include something that is not there, something that you've not observed, something that you don't know, like the learning media assessment piece. In the real context, we usually write the learning media assessment and the functional vision assessment in one report for simplicity. But for this assignment, you will not try to include anything that is not part of the functional vision assessment that you observed. And then you have to post to discussion, the discussion prompt that I mentioned earlier in this presentation. So I just wanted to give a quick overview on the 2 options for the final assignment. So you have to choose just one option, either option 1 or option 2. So if you're choosing to do option 1, then make sure you have access to a student with visual impairment in the school that you're working. And if you're choosing option 1, we will not accept virtual FEA in this option. So even though your school is accepting to do virtual FEA for this assignment, we will not accept that as a product. So make sure you have access to a real student and you are able to go and conduct a in-person assessment with the student if you want to choose option 1. So schedule a visit, put together all the materials needed for the FEA, and then use the forms that were shared in previous weeks for the FEA. Write the FEA report after you do the FEA assessments. Write the FEA report for your student, and then submit your FEA report. And then you will also need to submit a short video clip of you doing the FEA. We just want to make sure that you were the person who did the FEA, and then student face is not required, and the entire video of the FEA is not required. So make sure you so the 2 things that you need to submit as part of this, if you choose option 1, is your FEA report for your student, and then a short video clip of you doing the FEA. So good luck for that. And in case you do not have access to a real student, and in case you cannot do in-person assessment, we've given you option 2, which is watching videos of FEA components, writing FEA report, and practicing FEA with a friend or family member. So this option 2 has 2 parts. So part 1 is you're going to watch videos of me conducting assessment on a 4th grade student, Sadie. Sadie's eye report and background information will be given to you, and all the videos will be given to you. And we will post all of this next week, so you can get to see and start preparing for if you choose to do option 2. And then you will watch the videos, and then you will write an FEA report for Sadie and submit that FEA report. That's part 1. And then part 2 is you're going to put together all the materials needed for your own FEA to practice the various components of the FEA on a friend or a family member. So the friend or family member need not be visually impaired, so they can be perfectly sighted. This is just for you to get you to practice doing the FEA on a person. So, and then you do not need to take notes when you're doing the FEA, but you need to submit short video clips of you doing all the FEA components. So the two things that you need to submit for this, you need to submit the FEA report for Sadie after watching all the videos and noting down, observing, and things like that. And then you're going to submit all the FEA components of that you did with a family member or a friend in short video clips. So those are the two things for option 2. If there is any questions, anything, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you. Good luck with everything, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.